Welcome everyone to the Pi Data Sri Lanka YouTube channel. And what we're going to be discussing today is going to be a little different from what we have covered so far. We're going to be covering a project which you can do to add to your portfolios as well as to showcase in your own GitHub repository. The project that we're going to do is going to be an automated email sending system that's going to be built through the use of Python. So let's get into it. So to kick it off, initially we need to create our own Google account or a Gmail account. If you already have one and if you're comfortably using that for your development purposes and for your projects, you can use that. But I suggest you to create something else that will help you to kind of, play around with. So you create that Gmail account and then you need to allow less secure apps. So create an app password. So I'll teach you how to do that. But before that, we need to know how to get into to creating an app password. So we're going to be using something called the SMTP service within Gmail. And for that, to access it first, you need to go into this myaccount.google.com and app password. So once you go into the page, you will see this sort of outlook, and then you need to select your account and then enter the password and then log in. Okay. So once you log in, you will get this sort of a page, and here you will have to mention your the name of your app, and I'm going to say email test app, and then you have to click create. Once you create it, it will immediately pop out a password for you, which is going to be your app password. Copy it and save it in a very secret place, and then we can use it in our own Python application. So let's get into how to store that as an environmental variable so that it is secured and then import it using OS. But always remember, once you click create here, you will get the app password, copy it and place it in a secure place so that you will be able to use it in your Python app. Right, now all is set. What we need to do now is to build our application using Python. And for that purpose, you initially open an IDE. You can use PyCharm, VS Code, whatever. And the first thing that you need to do is you need to create an environmental file. Okay. The way that you do it is very simple. You add a new file and you put as .env. If you're using VS Code, it will immediately identify it as an environmental variable file or an environmental file. And once you click it, you will see this sort of a cogwheel that is going to be stated in front of the file just to depict that it is an environmental file. And within this, you can store any amount of environmental variables that can be called from other places within your project. And it can be mainly used to hide secret keys such as app passwords, API keys, and all sort of things, instead of committing it to GitHub, because this is going to be something that's going to be personal to you. And so make sure that within the Git, when you're committing it, do not commit the environmental file. But for this purpose, we whatever the application passwords and all, you can store it in the environmental file. So what I'm going to be storing here is going to be the Gmail. There is this common notation that goes around. You make sure that when you're citing an environmental variable that it is in uppercase. So I'm going to say I'm going to set an environmental variable called Gmail password, and then I'm going to paste the Gmail password, the app password that I got once I created that app into this and save it. Okay. So once you have done and saved your Gmail password in the environmental file, then you can go and create your Python application. So I'm going to say email tester.py as apologies, email tester.py as the module name, and I'm going to write the entire code base in this. Right. Before we get into coding, we need to make sure that the libraries that is required for our project is available. So the SMTP lib library is already going to be installed within Python, so you don't need to install it by yourself. but you need to make sure that .env file is available because we're going to be making use of the environmental variable file. So to check if it is already available, you need to do pip show python .env. So if it is available, then it's going to give you the description, the version, and where it is installed. If it is not installed, you will have to do pip install python .env. So once you do this, apologies here, once you do this, you will be able to install .env. This is very important because we're going to be making use of the environmental variable file. Right. So once you have your libraries installed, the next thing to do is to import them. So the first libraries that we're going to be importing is, of course, the .env file because we're going to be making use of the environmental variables. Then you'll have to also import OS, date, time, and from email, you're going to be importing meme multipart module as well as meme text module, which is going to be part of the text module. And also, you're going to be importing SMTP lib to it, which is going to be useful for ensuring a secure connection between our email agent as and our application. So these are the few things that you need to import for to get yourself started with. Right. So once you have imported it, next thing that you need to do is you need to load the .env, which is basically what you have imported from .env. And once you initiate it, what happens is all the environmental variables that is available, which is inbuilt as well as which is part of this environmental file, is going to be loaded into this module. And then you have the ability to use it using the OS module. And that is why we have imported OS. So first thing is you need to set your Gmail user, which is going to be the email. And for our purpose, it's going to be pydata slhub@gmail.com, and for you it will be different. And then instead of you can hard code the password here itself, but the most appropriate way to do it is to make sure that you save it in an environmental file, which is what we did. And then using os.getenv, you will import that particular environmental variable. So as you can see, this is the environmental variable name that I set, and for that purpose, what is going to be loaded into this is going to be that particular variable. And once you do this, you're now set with the imports and stuff. And now it's about building your email, the email body. Okay, so let's get into that. Right. So every email starts with a subject. So that's what's going to be the first thing that I'm going to be kind of assigning a variable to. So I'm going to call it subject, and I'm going to specify the subject that I want to name it as. So in this case, I'm going to make sure that I am going to state the date that this particular email was sent, and then I'm going to follow it up with PyData tutorial, which is going to be the subject for our email. And then in order for us to now start with producing an email body for our application, first thing is you need to initiate what we call as meme multipart, which was imported from email. What this basically does is it allows us to the multipart allows us to create different add different aspect to our email. It can be a text, it can be an image, it can be an HTML text. You can add anything that you want. So for us to let Python know, look, this is not just going to be a single part one, it's going to be multi-part. We're going to be initiating this, and we're going to be assigning it to message. So now the object message has a mem multi-part object within it, which is initiated. And for this, it will have different components. And the first thing that you need to specify is the from. So where is this going to go from? So I'm going to say, okay, it's going to go from this particular this particular email, and then to, you can either give it to your own personal email, but for this tutorial, I'm going to be sending it to myself. And so I'm going to specify both the from and the to as the Gmail user, which is going to be this particular email. But for the to, you can add anything that you want, but for the from, you have to make sure that you're sending it with the one that you have built an app password for. Next, you can add the subject. Now the top part of it is complete. The next part of it is going to be the body. So let's try to see how to build that body. Right. Now I'm gonna write my own body, and the email body that I want to have. So I'm gonna name it as tutorial content, and here I'm going to be specifying the body that I want to have. So I'm going to say hi there, and this is going to be what is going to be included in the email body. And then I'm going to attach this particular body as a meme text to this particular message object that we have initiated at the very beginning. Okay, so what this is basically going to tell Python is simply, look, there is this content that is going to be a text content, and I'm going to be attaching that in plain. I have mentioned it in plain English, in the sense in a plain sort of a thing, not in an HTML style. So you can mention it in HTML style as well as in plain format like this. And you're going to just say, look, this is going to be in plain format. Just attach it as it is to the message body. So when you do this, then it will attach this meme text into the message body, and then it will be available there. So you can also attach pictures, which is something, images that we're going to be discussing a little later. We can attach files as well. And for that, you will have to use different modules that is part of this email module, which we'll learn a couple of minutes later. But just understand, if you want to attach just email content like this, use meme text, pass on the text that you want to add, and then mention it as plain. Okay, cool. Right. The final part of it is to use the SMTP server to send out the email. And for this purpose, I'm going to initially initiate an object called smtplib.smtp. And to this, I'm going to be passing the host name for Gmail, and that's going to be smtp.gmail.com. So if you're using Gmail, this is your host name, and then you're going to be passing a port number. I suggest use 587, but there are other port numbers available as well. Just check them out, but this is an available port that can be used to send out email. So then I'm going to now use the start start TLS, which is going to initiate the server, and then I'm going to log into it using the Gmail user as well as the Gmail password, which is something that we have mentioned here. And then I'm going to be using the send mail, and I'm going to send it to the initial one is going to be from, and then the second argument is going to be to. So if you are going to be sending it to someone else, make sure that you mention it here as well. Not just here, this is just for the email body, the whole outlook of the email, but this is to mention to who we need to actually send it out to. So make sure that you specify the one that you're going to be sending out to here. Even if you specify it here, that's not going to be picked up. This is where you need to specify to make sure you can have whatever that you want here. But if you're going to be sending it to someone, you need to mention it here. And then you're going to put message.asString just to make sure that the message is going to be converted into a string. Once you do this, then it's important that you close the server. So that is how you basically do it. And if you just run it, you're going to get an email with this particular purpose. So let's test this out. I'm going to select a Python interpreter. I'm going to say Python. And once the interpreter is selected, I'm going to be sending out the email, right? So it's going to take a little bit of time. And now the email has been sent. So let's go and check it out. So when you head out to the email, you will see that the email has been sent from me. And if you go into it, you will see that it was the specific date that I specified. And it says PyData tutorial. And the email body is available and from who it was sent and all sort of things. And if you go and check this out for more details, it was sent by this person to this on this date and through mail@gmail.com. Okay, so that's basically how you send out an email using Python. It's a very easy way to kind of do everything. It's just a few lines of code to automate your whole process. We'll discuss further about how to attach images and all sorts of things into this email, but just understand, if you have a system which needs to send out email alerts, either if some sort of a task is complete or if there is some sort of an error. This is a very easy way to build it, and it's just a few lines of codes and an environmental variable file will get your job done. So let's now improve on this by trying to incorporate other aspects into this whole email app. Okay, so the next thing that I want to teach you guys is that, we initially attached a very plain text into our email body. What if we want to attach an HTML body? So let's say that I'm going to be pasting an HTML body to this as follows. Uh, Take this off. So this is an HTML body, basically an HTML structure. And the only change that you need to kind of incorporate is to mention here that now what I'm passing is actually HTML. Okay, so I'm going to change the subject here, Python tutorial HTML body, just to differentiate from the initial email. And now, since I've saved this, I'm going to send out this email as well, right? Okay, so let's head on to our email engine. We go to inbox, and as you can see, we have got received that email immediately. So it says PyData tutorial HTML body, and as you can see now, this is much more structured than the one that we had because this is in an HTML body. So you can attach an HTML body like that. It's a very simple code change. Just mention the just mention the HTML file, the HTML content, and then change this to HTML. The most methodical way to do this is to save it as an HTML file elsewhere in this particular folder structure, and then import the HTML into this, rather than typing it out like a string within the email app itself. It's better to have it somewhere else, and then maybe add things by the use of an string. Okay, so that's how you add an HTML body. So the other things that you can do with an HTML is that you can't do with a plain text is that you can add tables, you can add all kinds of things that will build out an HTML page. So let's say that I want to add a table, and I'm going to be attaching certain things. So this is going to be the HTML syntax for it, and then nothing changes here. Just going to change the subject saying the body containing containing a table. So you save it, and if you run this, very simple again, um, it's going to send out the email. Let's go and check it out. So now here we go. This is the immediate email that we have received. And as you can see, it has now constructed a table based on the HTML body that we have provided it with. So that's the beauty of using HTML instead of plain text, because you can kind of create a new narrative altogether, and to create a nice email body using the HTML syntax. Right. The final part that we're going to be exploring is how to attach a file or an image to our emails. So it's going to be very simple. So for this purpose, I have saved an image within the folder itself called tutorial image. And all you need to do is you need to open this particular image. You need to specify the absolute path. Then you need to specify RB, which is going to open it in binary context. And then we have to import something called meme image. So here, if you go to the top, from email.meme.image, you're going to be importing this meme image module. And to this meme image module, you're going to be reading out the file that you have opened. And then you're going to be adding a header to this image file, and you're going to be specifying content disposition, which is going to say how you're going to be handling that particular header. And then you're going to say attachment because it's going to be going in as an attachment, and then you're going to be specifying the file that you're going to be attaching. And next, like how you did here, where you have attached the email content, the string, the email body, you're going to be attaching this particular image in this way. And once you save it, and when you run this, it's going to read the file, and then it's going to open it, then you're going to save it as it, and then it's going to be sending it out as a email. So it's going to take a little bit of time simply because there is an image that's going to be running, but if you go and you will see, look, the image has been attached. You go in, the HTML content is available as well as the image that we have attached. Okay, so through this video, we explored how to create our own email sending system using Python. The application of this is will be in different contexts. For an example, let's say that you have an application that runs certain tasks, and if it is taking too long, you can have an email alert system that is created surrounding it, which will send out an email once it is complete. If there was an error that was thrown out, you can also have an email alert system surrounding that, which will send out the error to your phone or to your email, so that you don't need to stare at a screen and then wait for it to complete. So we learned through this video how to attach plain text into our emails, how to attach an HTML body into our emails. Also note, if you are attaching an HTML body, you can also attach an HTML. You can also attach an image to your HTML body and then send it out as that as well. Explore that by yourself. But we also talked about how to attach a file or an image to your emails as well. So let's explore further about how to use this in different contexts in our future videos. But for now, have a great day, and hope to see you in future videos. Thank you.